You are listening to the Kentucky X-Files Season 3 with your hosts Dennis Mays, Tyler Stewart, and Josh Gibbs. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also visit us at www.kyxfiles.com. And now, on to our show.
Welcome back, guys, to your Kentucky X-Files.
Ooh. Spooky. You really have to see it to know what happened just there. Guys, we live in interesting times. Interesting times.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
I spent a week going on a magical adventure with Dr. Stephen Greer.
Do we have a wind chiming noise we can put in there for that? A little type thing, you know?
There's got to be something here. Yeah, I mean, hang on. We'll start that over. Here we go. Okay. I don't know if this is wind chiming, but I spent a week on a magical adventure with Dr. Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with him, Dr. Stephen Greer?
I am not. How about you, Tyler?
I will say this: if you haven't heard of him, you gotta go and listen and look at everything he does. And if I was to be, this is a bold statement, okay, but for a while, I looked at the UFO stuff very, very similarly how I look at, Bigfoot stuff. I know there's weird stuff out there, but the majority of it's kind of, meh. Sometimes you're like, oh, dude, that's got to be a UFO, and it turns out to be a star constellation, right? All right. Well, then you get people that start sending you messages, and they're saying, hey, these things are moving, and we're hitting them with laser pointers, and they're reacting to it, and at first it's kind of like, come on, really, and then Dr. Stephen Greer gets on there and says, no, really, we've been doing this for about a decade now. Or like, really, so it's for me to say this. It's bold, like I said, bold statement. Probably the most legit UFO guy out there, hands down. And it's weird because it all started with a surgeon. He's a surgeon. He's I make the jokes about the doctors and all that stuff, and lots of chiropractor jokes get thrown out there too, because I still don't really believe it. This dude was the real deal. He was doctor, you know what I mean? Whatever. Sort of took an interest, and then started taking more of an interest. Skip a few. Some of his friends and him start digging into some crazy information, and then a few of his friends get assassinated because of it. Like, actually killed, and the dude gave up his medical career and a enormous salary to spend his life not exposing whether UFOs are real or not. He pretty much, in his own words, says, I'm over that part of it. They're there. He's like, the part that he's fighting for is to get the government to legally recognize what is going on, because there's organizations that are in play that are hiding that information, and he has found loopholes to force them into admitting it, and he's succeeded. The big disclosure documents, and we've poked our fun at those,
Right.
redacted. Stephen Greer's kind of the reason they were forced to put that out. Otherwise, it would have been released and broomed, just like everything else, right? He proved that they have technology 40 to 50 years ahead of when we, the civilians do. He proved it, found proof, showed it, showed his evidence, allowed for peer review, which is a big deal for me. That's a big deal.
Right.
You can say all day long, man, I've got contact with aliens. I study Sasquatches. I run a shop where I groom and braid the hair of dogmen. That's fantastic. But if you don't peer review, you got nothing. Sorry. I wish
Right.
it wasn't the case, but it is the case, It's kind of like I'm not here to badmouth these guys, but it's kind of like some of the people that we've heard of in these communities where they have big claims, huge freaking claims. Even one of their stories they've told would be enough to be just life changing for the everyday person. If you were sitting there and an actual video footage of a real Sasquatch in a some kind of a whatever setup where they're observing him and they're narrating it, they're showing you what he does and here's how he stayed hidden and all this, and they're showing you different peer-reviewed sciences about this. You get an actual creature that changes the game, baby. We're not hearsay anymore. We're not sifting through stories anymore. You got it. Now we build a science. Same with UFOs. You get tons of crazy good sightings. You get a lot of sightings that are kind of weird. But until you peer review, you got nothing. So I love that about this guy. And I wasn't very familiar with his work, to be honest with you. I didn't even realize it. A documentary I watched a while back called Undisclosed. It's his. And if you go and look at his documentaries, they're crowdfunded and they will not accept money from studios or any kind of big corporations. They will not allow for those kind of fundings. And the reason is because they do not want any information being chopped up or censored. He wants the information to come to the person watching it unfiltered and unadulterated. Here's what it is. Yes, this is crazy, but it gets worse. The thing that he was saying is it's not to decide whether UFOs are real or not. He said that they're there. They are there. That's a real thing. That's all out there. It's the understanding of how they're there, and then the understanding that we've been trying to duplicate their technology for decades and have succeeded somewhat. And one of the big things that came up, and this was a huge argument, and I was mind blown, was the fact that they have known that there is, in fact, a particle that can travel faster than light speed, even though we've been told all these years, even by Einstein himself, that nothing can go beyond light speed. Turns out our sun, we talked about the sun last week, or was it earlier this week? The sun actually produces something called a neutrino. Neutrinos are kind of like, I made this analogy to my wife earlier. Neutrinos are interesting because it's kind of like a particle that walks into a basketball game with, a hockey stick. He doesn't give a shit about your physics, doesn't care about your game and that you're going off. He's going to play hockey. So neutrinos kind of do whatever they want while physics is happening. All right. This is not an advanced science. This is pretty mundane. Stephen Greer has went on to say that these beings, wherever they come from, are able to manipulate space and time. And that sounds crazy. That sounds wild. How the hell could anything manipulate time and space in any way or form? Well, turns out if you can get something going the speed of light pretty easily, and you don't even need the speed to do it. You don't have to go the speed of light or beyond to get from wherever they live to here quickly. You just have to know when to release that much force to bend the 2 points closer together. Again, all science fact, all physics. We know that this happens out there. We know black holes happen. We know time and space warps. It's not a concrete thing. It bends. He pretty much is going on to say that these beings, um, they started coming here in force because we started dropping atomic bombs. He goes on to say that it isn't the bomb they're afraid of. They're actually not afraid of the bomb at all. The bomb probably won't do anything to them. I mean, if you're at the point where you're manipulating neutrino energy, nuclear energy is kind of like, throwing one of those little like wiffle balls at somebody. It's not really going to do a whole lot. It's a greater force. He pretty much said that the first nuclear test possibly released a neutrino field of its own, albeit a smaller one, from the blast. That wave actually could disrupt their navigation. And the other reason he said it was probably like a beacon going out is because the neutrino wave never stops. The force from Hiroshima and Nagasaki is still traveling throughout the universe. That wave of energy, it never dissipated and just went away. It's still going. So anybody out there minding their own business in deep space gets hit with it, that wave might mess up their navigation enough to go, the hell did that come from? They start cruising in. Most of the things he was saying is that he suspected that the Roswell incident was a crash landing because of navigational failure. And that was kind of an accidental discovery for us. Fascinating shit, guys. I literally, there's so much to this guy. There's an organization where you can get in touch. You can actually get in touch with them, and they will hand you all of their information for nothing. They don't want money. They don't want subscriptions. They don't want money. They don't care about any of that. They just want to hand the information to the free people. The reason that he is on such a, crusade is because, like I said, he lost friends. He had friends that were literally killed. He had assassination attempts on him for exposing the United States government's basically their cheap copies of UFOs. That they had tried to build them, had moderate success, even went as so far as to say that he's had like ex-CIA operatives and directors literally tell him to his face that, yeah, we did alien abduction simulation on people. He's like, it was an experiment. It was to see if it could be used as a useful tool for interrogation. Just a completely shock and awe value, interrogation. And he didn't go on to say whether they actually used a fake UFO to do it, but some of these crafts are out there, but it's not for sure whether they're one of ours or something else, and that there has been instances where one of ours was taken out by one of theirs. It's an interesting thing. The whole like neutrino and neutrino manipulation. You see some of these the radar. Remember we were talking about that, the weather radar that caught it at like a few feet off the ground, all the way up to like 10,000 feet in the air. You guys remember that up in Michigan? Yeah. And they were literally talking about that. Like if you have a strong neutrino field around you in this craft, you're not even going to feel any G-force because nothing would be able to penetrate it. Gravity won't really affect it. It's going to do its own thing. That's the whole key. And the more I researched it, the more I was like just amazed. I can't understand a lot of it, you know.
So in a way, our theory about like a gravity drive or something when we were trying to figure out how they could
Yeah,
survive a trip like that was somewhat we were right, but we
I
were
think we
wrong
were
about
we were on
we're
the right path, but
on the right path.
yeah, it's like we
So
were we were looking at the Volkswagen. We should have been looking at the like the Lamborghini. You know what I mean? Like it.
yeah.
We were just a bit behind on what we were looking at, according
So
to Dr. Stephen Greer.
yeah.
I'll say that.
I'm going to go
With
ahead and send you what I just found because me not knowing who he was kind of had me a little perturbed because he's a UFO guy, right? This is an interesting piece of information right here. You might want to have a look at. This is the CIA and the was it the CIA director and basically sending him a cease and desist letter
Yeah.
for stating that they had a conversation and all of the stuff that he's saying that the CIA agreed to within their meeting. That's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
So this is
I can add this to the channel here so people can see it.
yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. So that is a letter from CIA, the CIA guys that he had dinner with, where the confirmation was where I guess he claimed that they agreed to UFO sightings and whatnot.
Yeah.
And this is basically them saying, "Stop! It didn't
Knock it
happen.
off.
Knock
Yeah.
it off! It didn't happen." I'm noticing that there is a lot of black and white for this guy. Not a lot of gray area. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
mediocrity love. There's a lot of either we like him,
Yeah.
or he's an absolute fraud.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There was actually an entire. It's interesting too because I had heard this. I haven't researched this part myself, but from what I understand, if you go back and you find all of the smear campaign, you
Yeah.
can actually see when it starts and when it stops, and it's amazing because it comes on so hard that you almost have to go like, okay, well, what the hell was he getting close to then?
Right.
Like what was
So,
it?
so like I don't want to take a stance on this guy without actually doing all the research myself, obviously.
Yeah.
But I am really curious, and I do find it very interesting the amount of love hate that it's like nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people that are like, Bob Lazar is whatever, he's a fraud. No, he's telling the truth, or man, he's
Yeah.
saying some neat stuff. This guy, it's like they either love him or
Or they hate him.
they hate his guts out. And one of the things that I read was they think he's a plant, that he's a puppet to try to discredit the UFO disclosure documents.
No kidding. Okay.
So you think about it, right? Like if you wanted to discredit organized religion, you pick you pick the looniest preacher you can and use him for an example, right?
Yeah.
You don't pick like the little country church where they're all the old people are just singing their hymns and they have a dinner afterwards and they all go home. You pick the ones that have the kids like shaking in the aisles and
Holding snakes.
handling snakes and doing all really
right. Yeah.
really weird shit, like the Jesus camp kids. You know what I mean? That's what you direct your focus on. So you take a guy that you want to discredit disclosure documents, make it seem like he's somebody that's backing it, and point out all kinds of loony shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then on top of that, saying that he's a plant, like when we're all about not being like we're already so like thinking that the government's out to get us in the first place, and then you're saying that he is a plant from the government, that a lot of people would just hear that and like this, I don't believe him anymore.
Right. He's also
Just
being
because of
compared
that.
to L. Ron Hubbard.
What, as like a religion, I guess?
Yeah.
Trying to like found a religion.
Because even though he may give you all that information for free, he also has stuff he sells.
Yeah.
He'll sell you the truth for $600. You can have a extraterrestrial entity viewing for 800. Yeah, he'll show you how to vector a UFO for $2,500.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Vector a UFO. Yeah, I see it here. I'm looking at this. Like, there's some people that are saying here, describe the film. I guess this is the 2020 Contact Has Begun documentary. They described it as fantasy propaganda, a conspiracy to document built around a thesis that a national security state has concealed it all from us. Further characterizing Greer as a 70s nerd played by John Waters with a touch of Guy Pearce. Wow.
Okay.
Uh,
He kind of looks like that science teacher that a lot of people liked, but then it came out later that he wasn't such a nice fella.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get slapped with a lawsuit or anything stupid, but I don't know. This is interesting. I'm really curious about how much of his stuff is hogwash and how much of his stuff is actual science. It's actually rooted.
Yeah, there's from what I was, I know his episode. He was on Joe Rogan, and his episode was removed almost without any kind of, any kind of notice. Like, it was just removed by Spotify.
That's very strange.
Yeah,
Spotify lets us get away with all kinds of dumb shit.
Right. But apparently, though, Joe Rogan confirmed that Spotify had removed about 40 episodes, and that was one of them.
If Joe Rogan's getting slapped on the hiney, then we better be careful, because YouTube already slapped us. We can't afford to lose Spotify.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty wild, though, because they started this, Greer started this whole movement in 1990, right?
Yeah.
With the goal to create a diplomatic research-based initiative to contact extraterrestrial civilizations. The group is called CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. As far as like the people who are like actually going, and doing this stuff, and seeing it or whatever, he does have tremendous support. I mean, all the way up to like high-level celebrities that have actually went and experienced it with him. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I mean, I'm starting to see the ties between him and L. Ron Hubbard. Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's could be well it. I'm just a little like, the only thing I'm a little hazy on is like L. Ron Hubbard definitely had his motivations to have a controlling interest in a lot of powerful people.
Yeah.
And there's so many powerful people that absolutely hate this guy. That's where I'm having a little bit of trouble.
Right. But maybe he's not going the L. Ron Hubbard way, so to speak. Maybe he's going the who's the guy I'm trying to think. He's a meme. He's a preacher. Mega church dude.
You talking about the dude that literally looks like pure evil?
In a bad perm, yes.
Yeah, I've seen him.
I can't think of what the hell his name is.
I can't either.
I feel bad, but yeah, that's maybe he's going that route.
Yeah.
Just trying to make a dime off of this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It really is. I mean, listening to what the guy had to say, listening to the, some of his backing, the reasons for certain stuff to happen, certain stuff that didn't happen. You know what I mean? Some even going as far to say is like, hey, a lot of these UFOs that we're seeing aren't even, they're not extraterrestrial at all. You know what I mean?
And like, I can get behind that. I mean, it's not the first time we've heard that.
Yeah, it's like I would call it like if he absolutely is full of shit, then it's like the ultimate long game. Because it's like every other week, he's going out there and he's spinning just as much stuff against the subject as he is for it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, hey, you really have to sort through all this stuff because half of it's not even, it's either a star or a spy balloon, or you know what I mean,
Yeah.
or whatever, you know what I mean. And the other time he'll sit there and tell you like, well, here's what, here's this, and here's why this is happening, and here's why, he was even went so far to say that it wasn't the government as we know it. It's not like it's not like the president and the, you know what I mean, the Secretary of Defense and all that sitting in a room going, hey, we got to keep this UFO stuff down. It's not even them. It's something that even they aren't disclosed on. Because he even said that he had went and sat there and brought everything he had and disclosed the Clintons. Like he was sitting there with Bill Clinton and Hillary, and he was, and some of their people, and he was sitting there laying it out like, here's what I got, here's what I found, he's sitting there telling them like, look, this is $1 trillion aircraft here, or a $6 trillion aircraft. He's like, and I've tracked down every single mechanical part and cost for this, and I've lost $800 billion. He's like, where is this going? He's like, because it's not in the plane. He's like, it doesn't even pay the salaries of the people working on the plane. He's like, that's all paid for. He's like, but this is what you're being told. And he's talking to the president. He's like, this is what you're being told and shown, and this isn't what's happening. He's like, this airplane, and he's like, and this is just one airplane. And how many of these do we roll out in a year, or how many other projects?
Right.
And he's showing like how all this money is disappearing. He's like, and now, and and out of nowhere, you got these weird triangle ships floating above cities, or floating over towns or whatever. And he's saying that these fuckers are taking this money and funneling it over to where they need it so that they can build these ships. That the whole anti-air, like anti-gravity or whatever, planes or crafts or whatever, like the whole thing is such a high value goal for our government or our military that they'll funnel money from anywhere just to make it happen. So it's pretty wild, man. The more I like watched and listened, the more I was like, wow, dude, this guy's got some serious fucking knowledge here about this stuff. Like, it's just one of them things. Like I said, when a guy actually shows his paperwork, shows it, like here's what I got. That goes a long way for me.
Right.
I'm like, okay, if he's willing to show, put his money where his mouth is. You know what I mean? Because like even going back to like L. Ron Hubbard, he comes up with a religion. He tells this fantastic story, and you know what? I read his sci-fi stories. Fucker is a good writer. Like he was really good. His stories were pretty awesome. But in the end, sorry, but it's a story.
Right.
He doesn't have a paper trail showing you what's going on with his aliens that he came up with. It's just a story. That's why I was like, when I started researching this guy, I'm like, dude, this guy's he's got some information. You know what I mean?
Right.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like to dig deeper. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Highly recommend. Yeah. I know they were saying that, like I said, they crowdfund everything for their documentaries. So I don't know like what website you got to go to check out his stuff, but I almost bet that might have some link to the paying for the production of the movies that he's putting out.
Right.
Unacknowledged was pretty good. I have not seen this newest one though. I have no idea what it's about, but I might actually try to watch it tonight. So fascinating shit, man. I've been on him all week, just trying to dig up everything I could find and listen to. When he gets into the like particle acceleration and all that, and like I said, the neutrino thing, that's when I was like, all right, now I have somewhere to start. So then I started to research it, and I'm like, damn, dude, yeah, this is pretty wild. Like everything he's saying here is kind of plausible. Like if you could harness this, then you don't really need to fly across the galaxies, to some little blue planet. You could just basically bring that planet to your front door.
Right.
Just fucking bend it and jump. No, pretty neat.
Right? It's like the old Warner Brothers cartoons when they would be on two separate cliffs and they throw the rope and pull the cliff over. You know,
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Yeah.
But like, how would you think that we would be able to harness this? Like, because I'm reading these only. This is a byproduct of like atoms like coming together
Yeah.
and breaking apart, like the stuff that goes on, like you were saying, the sun,
See,
and
I don't
then
think
a
we can
nuclear
do it.
reaction.
Yeah, I don't
But
think
we
we can
have
do
a
it at
nuclear
all.
reaction, like we just can't harm. Like when we have a nuclear reaction, we can't.
Yeah.
that word's a motherfucker, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, and I just suck at talking. But that yeah, it's a byproduct of those things. But we have nuclear reaction, like have that all over the place. So
Yeah.
it's just we can't grab it. Like there's no way of holding it or
I
doing anything.
honestly, um, it says here the principle of harvesting neutrinos as an energy source is similar to that of traditionally like a solar panel, but neutrinos are not capturable. There's they're more akin to like a kinetic energy. So you'd probably want to you don't really want to like capture and harness them. You just need to know how to kind of direct them if you can. You know, I like I said, I think that is way beyond us. Like I feel like if we figure that one out, we'll be doing something big.
I just wonder, like I'm just trying to figure out how something could do that.
Yeah,
Like it just seems like like I said, it's a byproduct from nuclear reactions. Like so, it's like what's stopping us
right.
from exploiting this type of energy, especially if it's capable of propelling us through space faster than light.
Yeah,
So, like so to speak, I get like the way you saying like. Uh, I guess like, what you're saying is like to channel it. We have no way of like actually being able to channel it to
yeah.
for
I know. Like I'm saying, neutrinos is kind of a blanket term. Also, I
yeah.
know that there's several different classifications of these that they are trying to study. And from what I've read, there's, I mean, there's like a type of neutrino that's generated by black holes. And the amount they're saying that comes from that is like 300 billion times the energy of the sun. And one thing they said is if we can master this and we can get to the end goal of neutrino like harvesting or storage or even just any kind of utilization, it eliminates the need for solar energy because neutrinos you don't need the sun around to pull neutrinos out of the air. You know what I mean? They're freaking everywhere. You can basically just harness it, and it would be like the cleanest like energy in abundance. You know, it's
I
just
can already.
what we know of neutrinos is associated with shitty sources right now,
Yeah, I was
solar
just about to.
radiation and the sun and nuclear explosions, blah blah blah. Yeah,
I could already like say like there's like if we go as like if we go down this path, and I feel like we are
yeah,
there's going to be a lot of casualties, accidents trying to harness this or at least direct it to where it
jeez,
benefits us.
yeah.
It's like, come on.
It's
It's
crazy,
like
man.
it's kind of like that one that, like Mythbusters did it where a parachute like a guy that forgot his parachute and he fell, or it was like a military dude. He fell out of a plane, he had no parachute, but luckily I'm going to do it luckily, a explosion happened below him and the force helped him, like slowed him down enough to where landed on the ground. And I feel like that's pure luck to have that happen. And I don't feel like that's going to happen with us. There's no luck going to happen there. When there's stuff that's dealing with like nuclear power,
Yeah.
no.
I'm reading this here. Check this out. The decay of a neutrino is about 887 seconds, or a half-life of 10.25 minutes. Check this out. Here's some other I'm reading some of the questions people asked about it. Like, can neutrinos damage your DNA? Right? Neutrinos are reluctant to interact with everyday matter. But if enough pass through the Earth in one go, some would collide with the nuclei of atoms in living tissue. When this happens, the nuclei will recoil from the collision. Such recoils could damage DNA, producing cancer-causing mutations. So it's like if you had a shitload, then yeah, you could probably see a lot of negatives. But it says here that most neutrinos do not cause any ionizing radiation and do not produce any changes in our body.
Interesting. I wonder how far they've gotten over at the CERN collider, because they didn't have any conclusive or any definitive conclusions on it, but they were testing this exact thing.
Yes.
And they're really close to going faster than the speed of light.
Yep.
It says they haven't hit it yet.
Right.
And theoretically, they shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, but according to Einstein, they shouldn't be able to. But I mean, we know that out in the universe that neutrinos can hit beyond light speed pretty regularly. So this is a controversial thing. If they prove it, if they do a man-made reproduction of a neutrino going that fast, it's going to change a lot of shit people think about relativity. It's gonna break the rules of the game a little bit, because we're gonna be up until this point that energy can never go beyond the speed of light, right? And then all of a sudden we're gonna be like, well, wait a minute. Okay, so it's E equals mc squared minus neutrinos. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big deal, because it means, well, hey, that means that, for one, with neutrinos, if we're able to use them, we don't have to use them right away as an energy source or a weapon. Think of fiber optics, right? Fiber optics is one of the fastest information thing, like, what do you call it? It's on the planet. Dude, it's hard to find anything that moves faster than that. I know it exists, but so if you put a ship, an unmanned ship, out there, I mean, sent that son of a bitch cruising. If you had a way of transmitting information through the use of neutrinos, you could theoretically pilot this ship remotely in real time, or damn close to real time, no matter how far it goes. All you have to do is be able to aim at it. If it has a way to receive that information, all the better, So it could be an information relaying system, and be a huge benefit to mankind, honestly, as far as exploration of the universe goes.
You saying like we can get information to it faster? Like,
yeah,
it's like almost like an instant?
Like, if you sent an unmanned ship out beyond our solar system right now, you could still communicate with it, but there's going to be a major time delay, right? And eventually we're not going to be able to reach it anymore.
Yeah.
So if you say you had 24 hours of time between you sending a command to that ship and it getting it and then sending back a confirmation. But if something unexpected happens, that ship is fucked. You know what I mean? Like, you're never gonna. By the time you get your confirmation back, the ship is gone. Like, it's probably blown up.
Now, and for context, let's put it out there that the neutrinos that are being clocked, presumably faster than the speed of light, are arriving 60 nanoseconds earlier, right? So that's
Yes.
0.0000006
Yes.
of a second.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still talking at the speed of light,
Yeah.
right? But that's a really finite number. Now, that's still a huge number as far as the science community is concerned.
Right.
But I mean, we're still talking, if something can travel at the speed of light, then theoretically, if it goes just slightly faster, doesn't that also mean there's a possibility of time travel?
Yeah, I actually listened to an entire lecture about what you just said, and the guy who was speaking likened it to you receiving a text message from me before I pick up my phone and type it out.
Right. So the actual quote that made me think of that was, the bartender says, "We don't serve your kind here." A faster than light neutrino walks into a bar.
Yes.
That's where I was kind of like gathering the information from this I'm reading. It didn't even say anything about time travel, but
Yeah.
that's what it would be.
That is the major, like, monumental thing that this field has to do with is,
But-
like I said, if they're sorry, Ty, if they're all the way across the other end of the universe and they know how to utilize this technology, it isn't a huge 1,000-year trip for them. It's probably a couple minutes.
Right.
Because time doesn't, it's not like they're going back in time, but time is kind of going whoop
So okay.
away from them. Yeah.
So if I'm understanding all this stuff, because I don't even pretend to be the kind of person that thinks I can comprehend all this. I don't have the education to wrap my head around it. But
Yeah, me neither.
what I'm thinking is, then the efforts wouldn't be so much to harness the power or create the power. Rather, it would be more like akin to a sailboat.
How do you catch the wind? Yep.
Right. So
much.
it's not so much controlling it or directing it. It's how do you get behind the wave and hold on.
I had a different analogy. I was like, it's like that moment when you're stuck in traffic, but there's an ambulance coming by and you get behind it to cut all the traffic.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's true though. That's what we want. I mean, I know people
But-
are concerned because they think we're going to just build bombs with it, but it's like, dude, you know how long it'll take to figure out how to turn it into a weapon?
I hate
We'll
to
be
say
dead.
this, but that's like one of the first things we'll definitely try for. Like, if there's any bearings of us trying to get like grasp it as some type of energy, somebody's like this, we can make it into a bomb. It's like why? Come on. Just give us a break here. Like, do we have to turn everything into a weapon?
Yeah.
It's like, but
They
you
sure
kind of
think we
answered
do.
my
I
question.
mean,
Like,
it's human nature. I mean, you could turn the toothbrush into a weapon in the joint.
yeah, when there's a will, there's a way.
There was guys that were taking their underwear and they would roll them up and coat them in something they could get in prison. I'm not sure what it is. I know I'm misquoting all of it, but they turned like the underwear band into a shiv by treating the elastic with something to harden it up.
I've heard that before.
Right?
Wow,
can
man.
you imagine getting stabbed by some dude's shorts?
Damn.
I just be laying there like, man, did you
Of
at
all
least
the
wash
things.
them first?
Of all the things to stab me with, you picked your underwear.
You stab me with your Fruit of the Looms, man.
Yeah.
That ain't right. Yeah.
But you kind of answered my question, because like, even if we did harness this, like, we're talking about time travel. I feel like, with this being said, I feel like, yeah, we could probably think about going forward in time, but I just don't think we could ever go backwards in time. What's the past
that's
is
the
the past.
thing, yeah. That the backwards in time thing is, man, there's too many fucking movies that have put too many of the wrong ideas in people's heads. If we could go back in time, there's no reason for the biological entities to be there. They're not there anymore. You're not there anymore. I'm not there anymore. None of us are there anymore. We're here now.
And
You
when we
passed
say,
through it. Like you didn't, you know.
and what we're saying is too, like time travel too. It's not like you could go back to like your present. Like if you're going to jump forward in time, yeah, you're going to jump forward in time, but you can't go back to your present day. You're just going past.
Yeah.
You're like literally in a foot race and you go there. It's not like you can start back over. It's like,
Yeah.
like once you're there, you're there.
I feel like the idea of like time travel, as far as like say like interstellar exploration, the idea of time travel is a very very real thing in interstellar space. It's just not like the movies. You're not really traveling one way or another with time. You're displacing time for a while. How that affects the people around you that are not displacing time, it's anybody's guess. But if you think about time displacement for a moment, it really makes all the UFO shit make a lot more sense. Oh, that thing went 11,000 miles per hour. It disappeared from here and reappeared over there. No, no, he took his time. He just took
He
your
pushed a
time
couple
too.
buttons, like
Yeah, we're experiencing it on a different, a different linear time than he is. If he's able to displace time, yeah, he's gonna fucking
but
fly circles around you.
I, I I can't remember where I saw this. I can't remember. They were talking about the relevance of time and stuff, like because time is like how we base everything off of.
Yeah.
So, but if you go so fast, like if you have a car going down a road that just literally, talk about NASCAR going in a circle, same car going in that circle, and every lap it increases speed, increases speed, increases speed, increases speed. Eventually, your eye will not be able to perceive that because it's going way too fast, and
Okay, I get you.
that could be considered time travel. Well, no, I wouldn't say time travel, but yeah, it could appear to,
Yeah,
once
because
it, like, say it slows down on the opposite side behind you. You saw the last time you saw it was right here, now it's behind you. So it's not like it's actually,
you're talking about our perceptive limit, like
yeah,
our
our perception,
perception
yeah.
limitations.
This-
So
yeah.
yeah, but could you imagine how infuriating dogfighting in these crafts would be if everybody's like dilating time while they're trying to outmaneuver each other?
Ah, dang it.
Like, I shot that guy 20 minutes ago, man. He should be dead at any minute. All I got to do is wait for him to get back to that point, and he's dead. I know it.
Like, you
My bullet's
instead
time dilated too.
no, like, you know how every time, like in a like a aerial fight, you always have to lead your shot, so now you have to lead your shot in the future
Where's he
to
gonna
get.
be in 15 minutes?
Yeah, so you had to do quick calculations even
Random
more.
photon blast at a 7-Eleven in Arizona. I thought for sure he was gonna be there. Shit.
You guys are basically talking like the theory behind Space Invaders. Like you can't shoot at the target,
Yeah.
you shoot at where the target's gonna be,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
also time travel, you could equate that to Mario Brothers, this very first Super Mario Brothers, right?
Okay.
You can go forward, but you can't go back.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah. Well, the grandfather paradox doesn't allow it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the biological entities can remain fixed in time. Me personally, I don't think it. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not a fucking scientist, but I could be wrong. But it just seems to me like if you did travel back in time, you're probably going to be looking at a lot of like just stuff like trees and plants, maybe some rocks. If you're back like say the 60s, there's going to be Volkswagen vans everywhere, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't think you'll see the people like interacting in the 60s. I think it's like once you pass through it, you're passed through it. Like, I don't think you're coming back or staying put.
Makes
So
sense.
Yeah.
I would just go to every like hiding place that I know I stash stuff and just hide lottery tickets numbers like here. Just here you go. Hopefully I found it. But even that, like, could you go back and manipulate how things turned out? Could you change it?
But then I thought like that's one thing that they said like you can't really whatever you do then is what your future is now.
Yeah.
So you can't really manipulate. So you wouldn't be the same person that you were
Yeah.
back then. And like yeah, oh, God, I don't
Yeah,
even
dude.
want to go down this rabbit hole.
The grandfather paradox, if anybody's not familiar, is you go back in time, assassinate your grandfather. I don't know why you would do that. That's shitty.
He's a sweet
So
man. Why would you
basically,
do
as soon
that?
as you do it, you just can't be born, and that stops the whole thing. You could never go back in the first place because your grandfather was gone. So it creates a paradox. Of
Right.
course, that paradox, if we're just really going to go for a full-on like mind fuck here, that paradox only exists if you believe that there's only one linear path of time.
Right. And it also can be counteracted by the butterfly effect. That if
Yeah.
you were to go back, if you killed your grandfather, you would die instantaneously as well.
Yeah.
And then the whole chain of events would change
Yeah.
throughout time as time happened after that event.
Right. But if like now, how they believe, in physics now they pretty much believe that there's multiple different dimensions of existence, So if you went back and did it, you'd only be assassinating your grandfather and yourself in that one instance.
Yeah.
So that universe would continue on without you ever existing. Whereas the next one, the next instance next door could still be going. There's probably a like dimension where we're all like just super crazy famous musicians and we're like just driving all these awesome vehicles and just like gold is just falling off of us, you know what I mean? But one of us probably went back in time and tried to assassinate our, their grandfather or something. I don't know. That's why we're just, some dudes drinking beer, podcasting in Kentucky now.
Buy that.
Yeah. Or it could be like the Jet Li movie. We could travel the multiverse, assassinating other us's, so that this show becomes the best one. Every time we take out those guys, our show gets better. Huh?
I am Yulong. I am no one's bitch.
That's actually a pretty good movie. I mean,
I like that movie.
they were multiversing before it was cool,
Yeah.
I don't know. Now DC's multiversing now. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Keaton, huh? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Keaton's back as Batman. I know this isn't an X-File, but fucking Michael Keaton, dude. Come on.
I'm just saying, like,
Cheers, Michael Keaton.
throwing like some X-Files stuff to that.
Always gonna be
I
my
think it's
Batman.
funny. Like he was Batman in the '90s, and now he's Batman again. And I'm just saying he looks the same. I think he's a vampire. And it makes sense too because he's a bat.
Yeah, Paul Rudd doesn't age either. We need to do a whole conspiracy show on this because, dude, there was a thing going. Sadly, it was disproven recently. There was a thing going for a while there that ZZ Top were vampires, and the reason was because they didn't age there for like 40 years,
right?
And they always release songs about vampires every so often. So it was like, what are you guys, like, what are you telling us? Rest in peace.
Yep.
Poor Dusty Hill, man. I was so depressed.
Legend.
Yep.
Absolute legend.
I got something to read to you guys. I thought this was really cool. I thought it was I almost forgot about it. Popped up on our YouTube channel.
Nice.
Yeah, so let me
Activity.
YouTube activity. Where's it at here? It's from a new fan named Ernie. He's been commenting lately quite a bit. He said in 1979, When I was 12 years old, we went on a summer holiday up to Scotland and we visited Loch Ness. We stopped beside the loch and my family went to the tourist shops, and I decided to meet the loch itself. As I stumbled down the bank through the thick bushes and trees, I was suddenly led to a clearing, and lo and behold, there she was. Calm, not a wave in sight, gray and dead silent. There was a sense of apprehension for you. You felt that monster was about to pop its head out of the water and scare the living G's out of you. I bent down and I cupped some water to drink, and to my amazement, it tasted like tap water. Later, I was told it was fresh water. A part of my life I will never forget. Yes, I believe in the Loch Ness Monster.
Cool.
I thought that was really, really cool. And Ernie became a Patreon, which I think is really, really cool. You didn't have to do that,
aboard.
Ernie.
Yeah,
Thank
welcome
you.
aboard, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I've been reading that. He always sends something that'll say, his comments always start with like greetings from across the pond. And I was like, dude, I love that. Every time I hear it, so amazing,
awesome.
man. I'm loving it.
We have a fairly substantial reach over there. He's not the first one from the UK, right? We have somebody from Scotland.
Yeah.
We had one guy from Scotland, and then I know we haven't kept in touch because we had a guy that was from Australia.
Yeah.
That wanted to talk to us about the Yowie sightings over there, and like I think we've said it before, and it is a motherfucker to link up with this guy because it's like a 14-hour difference. Like right now, he's probably getting up for work.
Yeah.
Like we try to call him now, and he probably like, guys, fuck off, I'm going to work.
We should try to get Ernie on the phone one night.
Yeah, we would probably have to do like a Saturday morning thing, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that would be cool. He calls us chaps. I love that.
Nice.
I hope he doesn't think we're insulting him with that. Like I legit love that. I'm a child. I'm sorry, but he said in a comment when we talked about the old cocaine bear, he said, "You chaps are funny. I love how you described how the stoned bear would behave." Love it.
Speaking of,
see that?
That was a great segue you did there for me. And I hope to see part of this in the thumbnail. So, straight out of an episode of Archer. I don't know if anybody that listens to us watches Archer as well, but I love the show. Straight out of an episode. Why don't you pop that picture I sent there, Denny?
All right.
This little feller here. Where is he at?
Give me 1 second.
I'd like to.
I might have to get Tyler to do it because it's not letting me save this picture. Yeah, it won't let me save the damn thing. Yeah, it's making me save the whole website. Tyler, are you able to grab it?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, it's a website link. We can't save that photo.
All right, maybe we can.
And there's a stock photo too. That figures.
Let me see if I can steal it from Yep, there it is. Got it.
Got him.
And by steal, I mean borrow responsibly. Because we're not stealers around here. Right. Boom! Look at that guy.
Look at him. Okay. I like that. Now, this isn't the exact one, but this is a stock photo of one. But let me introduce you guys to Cincinnati's own Cocaine Kitty. That's right, folks. That's right. Not to be outdone by Kentucky's links to Cocaine Bear. They had to come up with Cocaine Kitty. And it is a serval cat, which is an illegal African big cat to own, right, in the United States.
Yeah.
In the little neighborhood of Oakley, which you've ever been to Oakley, it's kind of like it's a weird part of town where it's like half uppity, yuppie, like the kind of places you see like entire stores dedicated to makeup,
right?
And then boomer housing, like the old shotgun Sears Roebuck style housing, right? So it's kind of like this weird part of town. So there was calls coming in to animal control, the dog warden, about a leopard in a tree, right? And of course, you get calls about a leopard in a tree in Oakley, Ohio, and Cincinnati, Ohio. You're going to be a little apprehensive.
Yeah.
Sure, the guy was like, whatever, okay, But
Right.
no, they get there and they get the cat out of the tree, right? Then they do a toxicology report on this cat, and it had cocaine in its system. Right? So how does an exotic illegal cat, big cat nonetheless, they kind of look like an ocelot
Yeah,
type
right.
thing. So it's a large feline, not like full tiger lion type size, so they didn't quite get the full lions, tigers, bears like we've got, but they've still got a substantial size cat, high on cocaine, hanging out in Oakley.
I want to think that cat was like on the brink of evolution for like 10 minutes.
Right.
Like he was like, I'm about to go sentient. I'm self-aware all of a sudden. I'm doing math.
They're doing tests now to see if he can be part of the cat ambassador program. I wish I was making this shit up.
So they thought this too. They were like, hey, if anybody,
This is your scared straight cat. This is what this is.
Yeah.
So you've got a cat that was like leading a bad life,
Yeah.
He came over here and got hooked up with some bad kitties and
Yeah.
decided
hate to see it, man.
go down the wrong path and got himself on cocaine, and now he's going to have to go scare straight other jungle cats, I'm assuming.
It's like you're gonna be tempted out there to get on that cocaine.
I'm gonna see if I can.
Oh, that's funny.
I have an actual picture of the kitty cat here, but I don't know if it would take me forever to download it and then send it. So I'm going to send you the link, and you guys are a lot faster at this than I am.
Okay.
So that is our cocaine kitty laying on the table, being, checked out by veterinarians and people from the zoo.
I cannot get this to save here. There's so many pictures like this that I almost found one, but I don't know if it's the same cat.
Right. This cat's now. Did you hear that? The English language is just not working for me tonight. The cat's name is now Amory. Amari, Amiry. Unfortunately, the cat broke its leg when it was being rescued, or they broke its leg. I'm not sure exactly how it happened. I guess it fell out of the tree.
Oh,
but it's okay.
He made it?
Yeah, he made it.
Here's your picture. It's uploading. There it is.
Yep, there's our cocaine kitty from Cincinnati.
So he made it though. He's doing good.
Yep.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it, like
it's a 30-pound cat. It got out of somebody's car. Okay, I'm getting more news now on this. I'm digging deeper. I found another website, and it's giving me a lot more information. So you're driving around Cincinnati with a cat a jungle cat high on cocaine.
Yeah.
What choices have you made in life that have brought you to this point? Right.
I don't know, man. I'm there's just so many questions I have, like how and what are we gonna see next?
Right.
Think like cats, bears on cocaine. I feel like that'd be noticeable, but like squirrels, nobody's ever gonna notice a coked out squirrel.
I mean, they all kind of act like they're coked out anyway.
Yeah, they're already,
This was today's news too, by the way. So you heard it here. You heard it here second, folks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's as soon as I saw that story, I was immediately like, I have to get this on the show somehow, some way tonight.
Yeah.
go on.
See, I love that shit though. I mean, that's perfect. And you know what? It keeps the people informed. You know,
Right.
people are going to need to know if there's coked out animals roaming around out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's freaking amazing, though. I love it. I'm glad the cat lived too, because like the cocaine bear that didn't end so well.
No, it did not end so well. This is going to be a kitty ambassador, and I'm not even joking. That was what they're trying to test it to see if it's going to be ambassador material. So I'm guessing it's going to be like a zoo cat for people because it was domestic,
Right.
Obviously, until it wasn't.
I wonder if like the cat itself, if he's just going to be kind of lounging around and he's like, man, wish I could get a line or two. Those were good times.
Right.
And they're like, Kitty, you know what happened to that bear? You don't need it. You don't need this shit, Dewey. Get out of here. They should have named it Dewey.
Right.
I guess I will try some of that cocaine.
I'm gonna try some of that cocaine. Yeah. That's funny, man.
That's all I've got, man. That was enough news for me.
Yeah, I got nothing else. You guys want to let them have their day? Maybe. Hopefully, we didn't make them dumber by listening to us today. No promises.
I think we had some very insightful stuff.
I think so.
The neutrino. That's something I really want to dig into. That's actually
what I think we should start a foundation.
Yeah.
And you send us $1,000.
No.
And we will discover neutrinos.
Ooh,
and
nope. If you send us $2,000,
no,
we'll get jungle cats high while discovering neutrinos.
No.
That could be the secret.
No,
dude, you got to get a cheetah high on cocaine.
They're already doing it.
They're already found. So we can catch the neutrinos.
Wait, okay, hold on. I'm muting those guys. They are, God, whew. No, they are out of line. You do not have to send us any money.
Damn, we got censored.
Yeah,
dude. Dr. Stephen Greer, Tyler's in on it. Come and get him.
That's bull.
All right, you guys out there, like I said, take care of each other. Be careful. You see a coked up squirrel or anything, just other direction. Follow your gut.
Take your pictures first. Pictures and video. Picture. Then run for your life.
Be safe about it. You
Stick
don't
the
know
picture
what
on $1,000 and just slide it to us.
Do I have to censor him again?
Yeah. Under him. 2,000. We need money for the cocaine cats.
That's right. It's going to cost a lot to fund this.
They're a kitty.
They're muted again.
God damn it! Anyway,
I wish I had the Sarah McLachlan song on button, so I could just do that whole. Right now, there are jungle cats not high on cocaine. That's not the song.
It wasn't it. But I just tried to get for something quick.
Right. Well, keep us from being demonetized at least.
Yeah. So you guys out there, take care of each other and keep an eye on us because we need all the help we can get.
Mwah!
See you.
I need to have a major mute button for you guys.
Cocaine. Cocaine. Oh Jesus.